Vinnie Vincent. The name conjures images of a guitar virtuoso, a flamboyant showman, and a figure shrouded in enigma. But who is the man behind the makeup and the myth? Today, we delve into the strange and fascinating world of Vinnie Vincent, a guitarist whose talent and eccentricities have made him both a legend and an enigma. Born Vincent John Cusano in 1952 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Vinnie's musical journey began early. His parents, both of Italian descent, were musicians themselves. His mother, Teresa, was a country singer, while his father, Alfonso, played the steel guitar. This musical upbringing nurtured Vinnie's passion for music, and he picked up the guitar at a young age, drawing inspiration from both bluegrass and rock and roll. By his teens, Vinnie was already showcasing his prodigious guitar skills, playing in local bands and even giving lessons at a music store. But his ambitions extended beyond the Connecticut music scene. He longed for bigger stages and wider recognition. One of his early breaks came in the mid-70s when he joined a band called Treasure, featuring Felix Cavaliere, formerly of the Rascals. This collaboration gave Vinnie his first taste of working with established musicians and recording an album for a major label. However, the album flopped, and the band soon disbanded. Around the same time, Vincent also played with Dan Hartman, known for his disco hit Instant Replay. This experience exposed him to a different side of the music industry and further broadened his musical horizons. In the early 1980s, Vinnie moved to Los Angeles, where he took a surprising turn. He became a staff songwriter for the popular television series Happy Days and its spin-off, Joni Loves Chachi. Many of the series' songs were penned by Vincent on his acoustic guitar, often while sitting at the Cunningham's kitchen table on the Happy Days set. This unexpected detour into television songwriting showcased Vinnie's versatility and his ability to adapt to different musical styles. It also provided him with valuable experience in composing and collaborating with other musicians. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, Vincent continued to hone his craft, playing with various bands like Hunter, Warrior, Hitchhikers, and Heat. These experiences further shaped his musical identity and prepared him for the breakthrough that awaited him. But it was his fateful encounter with Kiss that would truly launch Vinnie Vincent into the rock and roll stratosphere. Kiss, facing declining popularity and the departure of Ace Frehley, was searching for a fresh sound and a new guitarist. Enter Vinnie Vincent. Introduced to the band by songwriter Adam Mitchell, Vincent's fiery guitar playing and songwriting skills immediately caught the attention of Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. Vincent's impact was undeniable. He contributed significantly to the Creatures of the Night album, playing lead guitar on 6 tracks and co-writing 3, including the hit I Love It Loud. His shredding style and melodic sensibilities injected a new energy into Kiss's sound. With Ace Frehley officially out, Vinnie Vincent stepped into the spotlight, becoming the Ankh Warrior for the Lick It Up era. This marked a turning point for Kiss, as they shed their iconic makeup and embraced a more hard rock image. Vincent co-wrote 8 of the 10 songs on Lick It Up, solidifying his role as a creative force within the band. However, tensions soon began to brew. Vincent's flamboyant stage presence and his tendency to extend guitar solos clashed with the more structured approach of Simmons and Stanley. Reports surfaced of arguments and disagreements, with some suggesting that Vincent's ego and perfectionism created friction within the band. Despite the success of Lick It Up and the ensuing tour, the relationship between Vincent and his bandmates deteriorated. Vinnie Vincent's departure from Kiss was less a clean break and more of an explosion. While creative differences and personality clashes played a part, the final straw, according to some sources, was a particularly heated argument over songwriting royalties and a contract dispute. Vinnie, feeling undervalued and creatively stifled, reportedly refused to sign a contract that he felt was unfair. This, coupled with his increasingly erratic behavior and his tendency to clash with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, led to his dismissal in 1984. Years later, Vinnie Vincent would reflect on his time in Kiss with a mixture of bitterness and regret. In a rare interview, he stated, "They wanted to own me, they wanted to control me. but I wasn't going to let them. While Vinnie's time in KISS was short-lived, it definitely left a mark. But Vinnie's departure wasn't exactly amicable. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley later commented on the difficulties of working with Vinnie, citing clashes over his personality and his vision for the band. Despite acknowledging his talent, they felt he wasn't a good fit for KISS in the long run.
He was probably the most talented of all the new guys that came in the band. To this day, in my estimation, can play Rings Around Ace, is a better songwriter in lots of ways than I am, sings much better, and is one of the most difficult people I've ever met in my life. Very unethical, kept suing us and so on. But his talent is unquestioned. First album that he was in as a full member, I think he co-wrote 6 songs.
Vinnie was an incredibly talented guitar player and was a great talent to write with, but was not a team player and somebody who was not very honest in his dealings with the band, made us a lot of promises about what he would do and then didn't do them. And in dealing with the fans and dealing with people who've been with us for 15, 20 years, he was very disrespectful and did things that we thought were embarrassing to us, things that we wound up apologizing for. And at some point, very quickly, it became clear that Vinnie didn't belong in the band. Quite honestly, from the day that Vinnie joined the band, we weren't happy about having him, but we wanted to go out on tour, and a tour had been booked, and we didn't want to have a temporary guitar player. So we had Vinnie join, and our gut feeling was right. From the day he joined, he was a problem.
When you go out on tour, there are guys in suits and ties who insure tours. You got to insure the people who are on tour, and when a band goes out on tour, you got to insure the band in case anybody gets sick or whatever. You lose a lot of money. So in order for a band to insure itself, you've got to show that it's a band. You've got to show contracts and so on. And in order for that to happen, everybody in the band has got to be signed to the band. You've got to have a piece of paper that says we're all in the same band, signed members of the band. Vinnie kept saying, I'll sign it tomorrow, I'll sign it tomorrow. He did that for a long time, years. To this day, he's never signed. And finally, he just said, fuck it, this is not worth it. And honestly, he's just, the ethics are questionable.
At one point, what Vinnie did is he sold a fan a guitar that he had never played and said it was his favorite guitar. It was the guitar he always played. And he sold it to a fan for more than it cost in a store. And it was that kind of stuff that we just said, this is, totally unacceptable. And we'll see you later.
Years later, Vinnie Vincent would look back on his KISS experience with a mix of pride and lingering frustration. In an interview with Eddie Trunk, he spoke candidly about the creative clashes and the pressures of stepping into a band with such a massive following. He expressed his admiration for the band's work ethic and their dedication to their fans, but also admitted that the experience took a toll on him both personally and professionally. Despite the challenges, Vinnie maintained that he was proud of the music they created together and acknowledged the impact KISS had on his own musical journey.
I spent 20 years in hell. And
how so? Can you give us some of the broad strokes of what was...
The broad strokes were very... They could have been not so broad. They could have been, quickly and really amicably could have eliminated 20 years of pain. But
is it a lot of this centered around your issues with KISS and your lawsuits and stuff?
I'd say half and half. So I would say pertaining to KISS, these are my friends, These are guys I love. I love them to this day, I've got tremendous, I've got memories that are wonderful, Most of them are. Everything was great. There was, not always can you have a band and have a certain, I hate this word magic, but it is a magic. It's something that you can't put it into words. The Beatles had it. The Who have it. Zeppelin had it. I always looked for that and never found it until I met them. And it was just something that this is the glue. This is the ingredients that I've never found. It was like everything you put into a mix that blows up, good and bad,
Well, that's what I was going to say. What percentage would you look at your time with Kiss as being good versus bad? Because
all good.
All good.
All good.
Even on times when I would be at the show on the Lick It Up tour, and I'd see Paul yelling at you for playing too much. It was still good.
All good.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
All good. Look, I was a newcomer, so I appreciate that advice.
Interesting. So you, in retrospect, looking back on it, thought that they were probably kind of in the ballpark on how they felt what you should be doing.
Absolutely. It was a time of being a guitarist, and that's what I wanted to be, That was my time. But working in context of what the band was, I'd say that I give them credit for knowing more than me.
Determined to prove his doubters wrong, Vinnie Vincent formed his own band, Vinnie Vincent Invasion, in 1984. He recruited bassist Dana Strum, who had previously worked with Ozzy Osbourne, and drummer Bobby Rock. But finding a suitable vocalist proved to be a challenge. Initially, Robert Fleischman, former vocalist for Journey, fronted the band and recorded their debut album. However, Fleischman's tenure was short-lived. Clashes with Vincent over creative control and personal differences led to his departure before the album's release. Enter Mark Slaughter. With his powerful vocals and youthful energy, Slaughter seemed like the perfect fit for Vincent's vision. The band's self-titled debut album, featuring Slaughter's vocals, was released in 1986 and gained traction with the hits Boys Are Gonna Rock and Back on the Streets. However, behind the scenes, tensions were simmering. Vincent's controlling nature and his relentless pursuit of perfection created a stressful environment for the other band members. He was known for his demanding rehearsals, his insistence on meticulous arrangements, and his tendency to criticize his bandmates. In a revealing interview, Mark Slaughter recounted a particularly demoralizing incident. After a gig, Vincent pulled him aside and bluntly stated, "You sang like crap tonight. If you want to stay in this band, you need to improve."
I think that Vinny didn't. I don't think he really liked me as the singer from the very beginning, in my opinion. It was a last minute thing. They had Alice Cooper tour, and I think it was a month and a half before. Robert said he wasn't going to do it. There was a couple singers that were kind of up for that gig at that point. Basically it came down to me. Mike Varney was working with Rudy Sarzo, and Tony McAlpine and Tommy Aldrich had a group that they were putting together, which is called Driver. And I said to the guys, I go, look, if I'm not going to do this, I'm going to go check it out and go maybe play with Driver or something like that. And then the label said, let's just take the kid. This is, and I was 21 years old at the time. I mean, it was just crazy. So I ended up, going out to LA, dyeing my hair blonde, teasing it up to the moon. And then, my guitar's back in the stand. And then all of a sudden I'm opening for Alice Cooper, which, going from a guitar player, singer to just a singer was crazy. So I think that a good portion of that is it wasn't what he was expecting for a singer. I think that he has in his mind of the perfect person, but he'll never have that perfection of who he wants to sing. He's just never happy. He's just not happy with anybody that he works with, I think. One time, and Bobby spoke about that in his book, and it was one of those things. It was one time we were opening for Alice Cooper, and it was the intro tape was rolling, and Vinny turns to me and said, Mark, you really sounded like garbage last night. If you don't pull it together, you're not going to be in the next record. And then we started. Then we were out on stage. And, there's two different things that people would react to. Some people say, I don't need this. And then there's the fighters who will go out there and say, you know what? And I went out there and I'm a fighter. So I went out there and performed more, did more, as a singer. And I think that I fought my way through to where Vinny accepted me at some point as a singer on that second record, where he seemed okay during that whole process. He was happy with the record. But in hindsight, again, Robert had his tonality, I had my tonality. It's a different thing. We're two different people. You know, I wish him well, and I've said that over the years, but, you know, he's got a problem with me, he's got a problem with Paul, and, you know, I really don't care.
This harsh critique, delivered after a performance, deeply affected Slaughter and highlighted the strained relationship between him and Vincent. Despite the success of their debut album, the internal conflicts within Vinnie Vincent Invasion continued to escalate. Vincent's unpredictable behavior, coupled with his clashes with Strum and Slaughter, eventually led to the band's implosion in 1988. Strum and Slaughter, fed up with Vincent's antics, left the band and formed Slaughter, achieving considerable success with their debut album, Stick It To Ya. This move further fueled the animosity between Vincent and his former bandmates. Years later, Mark Slaughter would reflect on his time with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, stating, "It was a difficult experience. Vinnie was a brilliant musician, but he was also very difficult to work with. There was a lot of tension and negativity." But Vinnie Vincent wasn't done with music just yet. He attempted to forge ahead, forming a new band under his own name and releasing a solo album, Guitars from Hell, in 1991, showcasing his instrumental prowess. However, this period was marked by further instability and controversy. He struggled to maintain a consistent lineup, and his increasingly erratic behavior alienated potential collaborators and fans. Gigs were often canceled, and rumors swirled about his personal life and mental state. By the mid-1990s, Vinnie Vincent had virtually disappeared from the music scene. He became reclusive, rarely making public appearances and shunning the spotlight. This withdrawal fueled speculation and rumors, with some fans expressing concern for his well-being. Sadly, Vinnie's life was also marked by profound personal loss during this period. In 1998, his first wife, Anne-Marie Peters, with whom he had twin daughters, was murdered. This devastating event occurred after their divorce, but undoubtedly left a lasting impact on Vinnie and his family. Despite glimpses of a comeback, Vinnie Vincent's life took a dark and disturbing turn in 2011. He was arrested on charges of aggravated domestic assault, a stark contrast to the rock star image he once held. The details of the incident, as reported in police records, were deeply troubling. Vinnie was accused of physically assaulting his wife, Diane Kiro, dragging her by her hair, striking her in the face, and even dragging her through broken glass. This violent altercation led to his arrest and painted a grim picture of his personal life. During the arrest, police made another grim discovery on his property: the bodies of 4 dogs stored in containers. This led to further investigation and accusations of animal cruelty. However, those charges were later dropped when it was determined that the dogs had died in a fight amongst themselves, and a distraught Vinnie had placed their bodies in the containers. While he was cleared of the animal cruelty charges, the domestic assault case remained. This incident marked a low point in Vinnie's already tumultuous journey, raising concerns about his well-being and further damaging his public image. Years later, in 2014, Vinnie faced further heartbreak with the passing of his second wife, Diane Kiro. They had been married since 1996 and resided in Smyrna, Tennessee. According to reports, Diane passed away due to complications from alcohol abuse. These personal tragedies, alongside his other struggles, paint a picture of a man who has faced considerable adversity and heartbreak. These legal troubles and personal scandals marked a low point in Vinnie Vincent's life. His reputation was in tatters, and his once promising career seemed irreparably damaged. He retreated further into seclusion, leaving many to wonder about his fate and his legacy. News articles surfaced detailing his legal troubles, including a lawsuit involving a former bandmate. These incidents further tarnished his reputation and contributed to his decline in the music industry. In 2018, after years of obscurity shrouded in mystery and whispers of his troubled past, after years of relative seclusion, Vinnie Vincent surprised fans by announcing his return to the stage. He performed at the Atlanta Kiss Expo, marking his first live performance in over 2 decades. The event generated considerable buzz, with fans eager to witness the return of the guitar legend. However, the performance was met with mixed reviews. Some praised his guitar skills, which seemed undiminished by time, while others criticized his vocals and the overall quality of the performance. Despite the mixed reception, the event reignited interest in Vinnie Vincent and sparked speculation about his future plans. Following the Atlanta Kiss Expo, Vinnie Vincent continued to make sporadic appearances, often performing at smaller venues or private events. He also began interacting more with fans online, sharing updates and hinting at new music. In 2019, he announced a series of Vinnie's Merry Metal Christmas shows, promising a full band performance and a set list featuring classic Kiss songs and Vinnie Vincent Invasion material. However, these shows were ultimately canceled, leaving fans once again disappointed. Despite the cancellations and his unpredictable nature, Vinnie Vincent retains a dedicated following. Many fans remain hopeful that he will release new music and continue to perform live. His legacy as a guitar virtuoso and songwriter remains intact, even if his career has been marred by controversy and inconsistency. Vinnie Vincent, a guitar legend, a troubled soul, an enigma. His story is a complex tapestry of talent, ambition, controversy, and isolation. From the heights of rock stardom with Kiss to the depths of personal struggles and legal battles, his journey has been anything but predictable. While his erratic behavior and controversial choices have alienated some, his undeniable guitar skills and his contributions to music history remain undeniable. Whether he's a misunderstood genius or a victim of his own demons, Vinnie Vincent's legacy continues to intrigue and divide fans. So now it's over to you, rock rebels. Today's poll question is, do you think Vinnie Vincent's reputation as a difficult person is justified? A, yes, entirely. B, to some extent. Or C, no, he's been unfairly portrayed. Cast your vote and let your voice be heard. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Vinnie Vincent's life and career. Until next time, rock rebels, live life loud.